What is going on, Corn Stars? It's your boy Zach here with another podcast for you. It's been a little while. It has. It has. I apologize for that. After having Will and Kate on and kind of opening my eyes and seeing how others would interpret this, it really sent me back to the drawing board. And I told myself I would not miss Rivalry Week for an upload here. It's just too important. The week before the playoffs, second rivalry week of the season. It's just a big week, man. It's a big deal. I took a couple weeks off to just do some research, do some, I don't know, just some rethinking on how I'd like this to be laid out. I guess for whatever reason, I was so focused on getting you guys to see what I was seeing that I didn't focus on what you wanted to see. If that makes any sense. So seeing them bring in different visuals and things really made me think back on my time. I know some of you OGs here might recognize this page right here, or this opening. It's the pretty much 80 to 90% of what the original newsletter used to be when it was in written form and not on the podcast. This is what started it all for me right here. So I thought it'd be fun after listening to that to go back to the drawing board and try to rethink some things for the newsletter so that I can still make it something that I can do weekly and then bring you guys something that's visually appealing. It's not 100% where I want it to be. I'm not quite sure where I want things yet. I'm very, very proud of the back half of this and some of the research and things that I was able to do. But there are some pages through the front bit here that will probably be very different in the future as I think of different ways to present them. So this being one of them, this top part here, as you OGs know, is very, very similar. The team standings used to be down in this bit here. I couldn't think of what to put here, so I just put some corn. Why not? If you have any suggestions, let me know, and we can get some things moved around and added here. But without further ado, guys, I'd like to welcome you to Week 14, second week of the rivalry. This weekend we have a huge Ohio State matchup against Indiana. I'm pretty sure everyone in the league, maybe outside one or two people that I'm not 100% sure of, are Buckeye fans. Great game there. And then a big week on Sunday. Fantasy playoffs, week 14. Jags Colts, first place in the South. I know I'm the only one that gives a fuck about that, but I'm excited, man. I'm not going to lie, man. I'm nervous. I was nervous hitting the start button on this one this time. It's been a little while. But let's jump right into it, guys. So with the with what I have going on here, I'm going to just kind of recap the last 4 weeks. So week 10, 11, 12, 13. I wrote up some stuff here, went back, kind of looked at how everyone has been performing. So starting at the top, this is going from first place in division, and then second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way down to 12th, and kind of what's been going on the last 4 weeks here. So at the top, we got Nakua Matata, 10-3, clinches the number 1 seed in the first round bye in the playoffs with a 4-game win streak after losing back-to-back games in weeks 8 and 9. Yeah, Zach stumbled there for a little bit, man. And at one point when this was last recorded, when Will and Kate did theirs, there were like 4 or 5 teams tied at 6-3, and he hasn't looked back since then. So ripping off 4 straight has been incredible. Definitely gapped Sam and myself, and Jake here, who's sitting in 4th with just a 2-game lead. Even if he drops it, I mean, he could bench everybody this week and be just fine. So congratulations to Zach for wrapping up number 1 seed. We'll see how he fares in the playoffs. That's their only bye week this year. The number 1 seed is the only bye, so number 2 has to play to get in, unlike previous years and previous formats. In second place, Carolina Reapers 8-5 looks to lock up the number 2 seed in the apologies, I'm fucking dumb. I can't read. Looks to lock up the number 2 seed in the playoffs and sweep the rivalry series against Iceman. Sam beat me week 1. Definitely been my rivalry from the beginning when we started the pod. The initial pod team was him and I for the first year or two. And then our schedule has changed and moved around. A little harder to link up now, but he jumps on when he can. and definitely talks ball with me all the time, gives me ideas and stuff. So hats off to Sam. Pretty much 2-2 since then, but keeping that points for gap to stay at the top of the 8 and 5s. Iceman's waited all year for his get back against Carolina Reapers in Week 14 as he looks to end the season and start the playoffs with the dub. It's been a little rocky for me in the last couple weeks. Definitely lost some games I should have won and won some games I should have lost. Been an odd way to get to where I am. Been an odd season for me in particular. Happy with where I'm sitting, but it's I can't tell if the team is for real or not, if that makes sense. It's I don't know. Then here in 4th place, we got the hottest team in the league since week 9, scoring the most points. I've gone back and fact-checked that over the last 4 weeks with 564.38 and winning 4 straight. So since the last pod, Jake has been on fire. 4 straight wins, 564 points. That's, what is that, like 100 and something points a game on average? No, it's more than that. I don't know. Can't do math either, apparently. But it's a fucking lot. It's enough to make you go, wow. But he's gone nuclear the last 4 weeks. Definitely heating up for the playoffs. Goes up against a matchup this week. It's been 50-50 in the past. A pretty close matchup against Amanda. I feel like she always plays them pretty tough. I'm not sure. Even when her team is bad, they just, I don't know. It's always a throw a toss-up between them two. In 5th place, we have MC Squared, 7-6, putting himself in position to defend his back-to-back title as he eyes a possible three-peat. From my math, technically, according to Yahoo, he has not clinched a playoff spot. 1 through 4, so Zach, Sam, myself, and Jake at this time are the only ones that have clinched a playoff spot. But from doing my math, I don't think there's any way that Joey doesn't make it in. It doesn't recognize the format where the 7th place is going to be the points for position, which is why I think it's counting him out here. But even if he falls to Rhodey and then some other things happen, if he finishes outside the top 6, he will get that 7th seed because his points for is so high. So in my opinion, guaranteed to make the playoffs here. Unless some really, really bonkers shit happens and somebody scores like 300 points this week and they're able to gap him in points for, but I do not see that happening. And then in the 6th place, last one here as far as playoff goes without looking at that 7th seed, we got Rhodey. Show me your TDs, 7-6, finally gets back in the win column in week 13 after losing back-to-back games while scoring less than 90 points per game in that span. Rough 2 weeks. 11-12 were not Rhodey's best showings. I know Chase was suspended for, I believe, one of those games. Burrow's been back. Higgins has been in and out. He's had some bye week issues. So, Rhodey getting back in that win column. Kind of what was lagging it for a minute. It looked like he wasn't going to make it. And then all of a sudden, bada boom, bada bing, he's right back in that bitch. Moving on to the next set of 6. For the 10 through 13 recap, Newport Beach Bums tries to keep her playoff hopes alive in Week 14 against her rival CU in Lumbridge after a 3-game losing streak. Kind of crawling into the playoffs right now. Her team hasn't been bad. They just run into buzzsaws the last couple weeks. So as long as she can win this week, winning she's in. Because she'll be able to jump the loser between Rhodey and Joey. As far as record-wise goes. So if she's win, she's guaranteed in. If she loses, there's some chaos that can happen, which will be very fun. Rock Bottom, 6-7, is somehow still in the playoff contention despite being the coldest team in the league over the last 4 weeks. Only scoring 364 points. So if you go back to what Jake has been doing with 564, it's a 200 points for gap between what he's been able to do and what Mike's been able to do to kind of put that in context there. So, an extra 50 points a game he's scoring over what Mike's been putting up. Mike's team's had some low lows. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I think he scored less than 61 game, less than 70 another game. It's been pretty bad. But still alive, man. As far as points for goes, I'm not sure he's in if he loses. I believe he'd have to win and then gap in points for to have a chance to get in. Moving on to the next team in here at number 8, it's Sia and Lumbridge. It's our buddy Will. He's 5-8. With a W this week and a solid score performance, he has a big opportunity to win the 7 seed. It's a big week for Will. If he can beat Kate and knock her to 7-7, even though record-wise he would not be above her, the points for, since she would be out at that point if Kate loses, from what I understand, if she loses, the winner between Joey Rody's in, the loser between Joey Rody's in because of points for, and if she loses, she can get jumped for that 7 spot because it's points for based. And I know Keith is pretty close, and I know Will's pretty close. I think Mike's pretty far, but he might be able to do it depending on how well her team performs this week. It's a big rivalry game there. Gridiron Waffles 4-9 has been hot to close the season. He's beaten 2 playoff contenders. He's won 2, lost 2, but his 2 wins have come against myself and against Joey. 2 guys that are looking pretty locked for the playoffs. A huge scoring performance coupled with a C and Lumbridge win in a low-scoring game could propel the Prophet into his first playoff appearance with the 7th seed. I believe, you'd have to fact check me here, I think he's like 32 points back from being the points for the leader, and he's been putting up a lot of points here in the last couple weeks. So if Will can beat Kate, and that's like a 110 to like 90 scoring performance or whatever gets Will the win in a low scoring performance, Keith can jump him if he blows up and has like another 150 point week. That can be big. So again, if Kate wins, none of this matters. If she loses, chaos. And I can't wait to see it will happen either way. Moving on to the last 2 teams in the league here. Neither of these teams really have a chance to get into the playoffs here, regardless of what they do this week. Senior Bud Light 4-9 at this point is just looking to get the season over with and put it behind him as he misses the playoffs for the first time in his Corn Belt Fantasy Football League career. He hasn't been with us from the start. I believe he started in 2001, 2022, but every single year he's at least made the playoffs. And I think he's the only team that's been able to say that. Thinking back, I was just looking at the leagues. I believe I missed it in 22. I believe Sam missed it 1 year when he was doormats, but he's gone pretty far pretty much every year as well. Joey didn't make it the first couple. 3 or 4 of you weren't with us the first year. Amanda's missed it. Jake's missed it. So, yeah, I want to say Kaysen was the only one that's been in every single playoff until this year. So, just disappointing season for him. Hoping to bounce back next year. Usually one of the tougher competitors in the league. And then here at the bottom, Amanda, Drizzy Drake, 4-9, finds herself just playing for pride and bragging rights in Week 14 against her rival as her disappointing season comes to a close. Nothing she can do to get in the playoffs. There's nothing she could do to knock Jake out of the playoffs. It's just kind of, that's her rival for this week, by the way. It's just kind of for pride. Especially when these couple matchups like Will and Kate and Jake and Amanda always make it fun because you can, I don't know, put doing dishes on the line or something. Put a little extra on that thing, you know what I mean? It just makes it a little fun. But, I can't imagine having house bragging rights. My wife would never let me live it down if she ever beat me in fantasy. So, prayers for Jake. Moving on, weekly awards this week. Jake, again, like I said, has been really hot. Scored the most points this last week in Week 13 with 150.24. Will has scored the least amount of points with 68, which is what's kind of been given Keith that chance to kind of jump up. Player of the week, A.J. Brown for Jake's squad, put up 35.2 as the highest scoring player in the league. Down here, I'm not sure why my graphic is black instead of orange. That's very odd. But it should be largest margin of victory, and it would be Joey when he beat Kate this week by more than 41 points. Smallest margin of victory. It's going to go to Nakua Matata, man. In a week where you could have knocked him off and given us a chance to play for first, man. Fuck. Will comes up short with 68 points and a disappointing outing. When the Number one seed gives you every chance in the world, brother. Brother. I honestly can't tell you. I'm going to have to go back in the league and see how many times this has happened, man. Because I feel like every single time Zach puts up kind of a mediocre performance, whoever he's playing just shits the sheets and lets him get away with it, man. Every time. But regardless, it was only a 13-point victory for Zach this week after he put up just a measly 81.42. Moving on to some more awards here. It's the first team all fuck section. A little bit of a different look this week. Wasn't quite sure how I wanted this to look or play out going forward, so this is probably going to be a screen that changes a little bit here. But for the quarterback this week, we have Patrick Mahomes putting up 29.44. A.J. Brown, as we just talked about, with 35.2. Rashee Rice with 29.4. Bijan Robinson with 30.3. DeAndre Swift with 20.8. And Brock Bowers with 22.3. Now, this is where things get fun. I haven't done a prediction series in a long time. What the pods have mainly been are like a week in review. But since the weeks have already been somewhat summed up and reviewed, this is what I've been working on, putting in some time, putting in some research, trying to figure out what I want this to look like. And I think I came up with something that I really like and that I'm going to stick with going forward. Not sure about the images going forward, but we'll see. But here we go. Gotcha. It's the Baker of the Year, motherfuckers. Total league donuts this year, we have 28. This is the exact thing from the newsletter in the past with the donuts and the names. The person at the top, I know you can hardly see it, but that is a little dot up there for Jake in first. Well, not in first, but at the top with 4. Carolina Reapers has 2. CM Lumberts has 2. Jersey Drake has 5, leading the league in donuts there. Ground Waffles has 1. Iceman with 2. Joey with none. Avoiding the donut, man. He's not a baker, I guess. Zach even has his own with first place. Nakua Matata there. Newport Beach Bums rolls in 2. Rock Bottoms cooking up 3. Senior Bud Light with 4. And Show Me Your TDs with 2. So 28 total donuts through 13 weeks. There were some weeks, man, where it's been really, really bad. I don't know. I don't have my notepad up here. But, I mean, there are some weeks where there's none, and there have been weeks where we've had like 5 teams putting up donuts. So I don't know if those were just rough bye weeks. A couple of these are credited in injuries happening early. And, like, I think Keith's only one is when Travis Kelce took Xavier Worthy's head off in that game on the second or third play, accidentally running him over. So there's a couple of them like that, unfortunately. But this is where the Baker stands so far before we head into the playoffs. This is what I'm talking about, though. For the rivalry week, putting these images together, putting up, previous results, win streaks, series wins, key players, rankings, everything here. Some little notes down here at the bottom with the exclamation points. So for the first one, I wanted to talk about this game first and foremost because I believe this one has the most playoff altering scenarios in it. If, somebody from Joey Rody's going to lose, somebody between Sam and I are going to lose, but regardless, I think all 4 of us are in. I can't find a scenario in which we're not. The only thing that can change would be, if, Jake could jump Sam and I up into second, one of us could drop down to fourth, loser between Joey Rody can end up being in the 7th slot instead of the 5th slot. So it really only matters with matchups. But when it comes to the playoffs, as long as you're in there, you have a chance. I don't believe there's one team that's really running away with it right now. With the injuries and things that have happened, I know Jake's team's been really strong. I really wouldn't want to play him in the first round. But with all of us kind of being in the middle, I don't think there's a chance. So this one has the most implications here. So with Kate, it's win and she's in. If she wins and goes to 8-6, there's there's going to be. There's only no one can jump her at that point. She would finish behind Rhodey or Joey, but she would jump the other one, make it in for the 6th seed, and then let them kind of figure out how it plays out with points for the whoever finishes 7-7 there, because she's got the same record. So it's very simple. Kate wins, she's in. Playoffs are booked. It's the top 6 we've already seen with Zach, myself, Sam, Jake, Joey, Rhodey, and Kate. If she loses, because of her points 4, she can't get gapped. Will can jump her. Keith can jump her. I don't think Mike can jump her, but he can go 7-6 as well. Depending on their performances, there's always a chance. I mean, he could put up 225 points this week with Woody Marks and fucking me playing running back, but who knows? Unlikely, though. So it's very intriguing here. So if Kate wins, she's in. If she loses, there's a lot on the table there. I know I've said that a couple times, but I just want to emphasize that if somebody wants something to watch and how big this matchup is for the playoffs. On the sides here, I put some key players. I tried not to include just all the best players on the team, but some of the star players that need to have star player type games. Some like Josh Jacobs is one where he's dealing with some injuries. She can't afford him to have an 8-point game. He's got to go out there and put up 15 plus. For Will's side, he needs JSN to ball out. He needs Justin Jefferson to figure it out. And I know it sounds kind of odd putting Darren Waller in this conversation here, but when Darren Waller was healthy, he was going insane at tight end. He's only projected like 8 points or so. But if Darren Waller can come out there like he was earlier in the season and put up 2 touchdowns, that would be absolutely huge for this matchup. Week 1, Newport Beach Bums came away with the victory 122-105. All-time series wins. They've only played this one time since it's Kate's first year. So Kate has the series win edge right now at 1-0. Current win streak, Newport Beach Bums is on a 1-week winning streak, and Will has yet to beat her, but we'll see how this week plays out and then as years go in the future. As far as some of the exclamation points on this rivalry, it's the newest league rivalry. The only one that we had that was started this year. Everyone's kind of played everybody else in years past. We've had a pretty steady group of people here except for that 12th slot. So she's come in and taken over that rivalry place for Will. And then it's the only matchup with 0 wins in a rivalry. So Will has yet to beat her, obviously, because this is new. But I figured I'd throw it out there. It's the only one without a dub. Moving on to the second most important game, in my opinion, for the playoffs. It's going to be MC Squared against Show Me Your TDs. Both sitting at 7-6. This might be the rivalry of the league, to be honest with you here. Looking at the championships these guys both hold. Joey's going back-to-back. Before Joey went back-to-back, Rhodey went and won his ring here. It's an OG rivalry. Both these guys have been in the league since its conception in 2020 when it took this form. And they've been in the leagues in the past that we had on ESPN before we moved to Yahoo and it became the Corn Belt League. Both these teams are 7-6. Both these teams have big players in here. Rasheed Rice, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Devon Achane, Tyler Warren, Bo Nix. I mean, those guys have to have big games. If any of them flop, that could be the difference maker here. As far as week 1 goes, Joey picked up the victory 103-81. A series wins here. It's 4-4 all time. Like I said, these guys have played each other all the time. When the league was broken into divisions for the 1 year, they were in the same division, played each other twice. So, this is this is our Ohio State, Michigan. I ain't gonna lie. This is Ohio State, Michigan in our league right here. This is always a fun one to watch here. As far as win streaks go, Rhodey came out swinging the first 3 years. He was 4-0 in this series. Over the last 2 years, Joey is 4-0 in this series. The win streak currently, Joey's up 4 in a row. Like I said, series wins tied at 4-4. Rhodey's last win was week 14 of 2022. So it's been 3 years since he's beat this man. Hoping to not make it 4. As far as some of the exclamation points go here, OG rivalry. It's the longest rivalry win streak. No one else has a longer win streak over their rival than Joey right now with 4. And it's the longest time without one of the rivals having a W. besides Will, which has been never. But since 2022, it's been 3 years since Brody's had a shot in this series here. But like I said, huge matchups, championship pedigree, OGs, friends, man. It doesn't get better than this, brother. I tell you what. Moving on to the next one, we've got Iceman against Carolina Reapers here. Fun matchup. Both teams are 8-5. Not the championship pedigree that the last one has, but if you look in the past, Sam has come up runner-up or third place like 3 times, I believe. I've won 1. We're both always in the playoffs, so not nearly as good as Ohio State, Michigan, but I guess you could call this like Alabama and Auburn. Key players in this one that both these teams need to really pop are Jamison Williams, R.J. Harvey, Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, and then kind of the questionable ones at the bottom. I really relied on Trevor Lawrence in my matchup against Keith, and he kind of put up a little bit of a dud. I need him to really do like 20-plus this week against Indianapolis, who's without Sauce Gardner and pretty susceptible in what should be a shootout here. BTJ's back. Jacoby Myers has been looking great. Parker Washington's healthy. Brenton Strange is back. Man, I'm hoping Trevor puts up a big, big game. And then over for Sam, Quinshon Judkins is one who's been very, very hot early. And then here the last, 5, 6, 7 weeks has been putting up some single-point performances, like some 6, 7, 8ers. So definitely need Quinshon to come on here and have a big game for him, to give him an opportunity, because I believe he's starting off in the hole as far as projections go. Week 1 result, Sam edged out the victory, 10-point win roughly against me here. As far as the series goes, I have the edge 5-3. My last win, it was week 5 of last year, because Sam has the current win streak of 1, winning week 1 this season. So the only exclamation I come up with this one's OG rivalry, man. One from 2020, been playing each other. There are like 2 or 3 people in the league every year that when I play against them, I want to win. I need to win. And Sam is just one of those guys I always look to want to beat. Next rivalry we have here is Gridiron Waffles and Senior Bud Light. Not really playing for much here, except Keith has a chance to get in, but he'd have to have he needs a lot. Needs a lot of help. Kind of like the Bengals the last couple of years in the playoffs, where they don't control their own destiny. I mean, he can do what he can, but he needs a lot of help from people in front of him to really kind of slip up or win or do what they need to do to give him an opportunity here. But it's a very slim chance he gets in. But the chance is there for the profit. Both these teams are 4-9 going into this second week of the rivalry week. Key players on both sides. Josh Allen for Keith needs to have a big game. Brian Thomas Jr. needs to do something for this man this year. And then Breece Hall has been balling out. Needs to continue to see that. If he falls off and these other 2 guys have struggle bus games, it's not looking good for Keith. He needs his team to absolutely pop to have a chance. On the other side, for Kaysen, Ashton Genty's been very mid. I don't think he's been worth the first-round pick, but he hasn't been bad. A lot of teams need a running back, and he's a running back, so can't fault him there. Trey McBride's been fantastic, best tight end in the league for sure. And then Alec Pierce has come kind of out of nowhere alongside Michael Pittman to be a big deal here in that Jaguars game. I believe Pierce can have a solid matchup there. Jags are really, really good against the run this year. I think, if I am not mistaken, they have yet to allow a 100-yard rusher, but they give up a hella through the air. Kind of their MO my entire life is what it is. Week 1 result, Gridiron Waffles beat the piss out of Kaysen in week 1 and never looked back. And that, funny enough, is his only win in this series. His first win against Kaysen came this year, week 1. Win streak currently, Gridiron Waffles with a week 1-week streak. Senior Bud Light's last win was week 4 of 2024. As far as the exclamation point here, or like the matchup fact, it's the most rivalry matchup wins of any rivalry we have in the league. So Kaysen has 6. I think the next closest is my 5. I don't think anyone else has 5. And then after that, it's a bunch of 4s. Next matchup we have here is the classic couple matchup we had in the league prior to Will and Kate joining in. We have Drizzy Drake Amanda going up against, I don't know what the fuck he wants his team to be called, the K dot period whatever, the Jake squad. In this matchup here, some of the key players is for Amanda. Chase Brown's come back around since like Joe Flacco's been able to take over, so we'll see if he's able to keep that riding with Burrow after a Thursday night game. Jacoby Myers has looked fantastic in Jacksonville. Drake London, I know, is questionable. She needs him to play to have a chance. If he doesn't play, I mean, there's not a lot of pickings on this team for people that could possibly make an impact or have a blow-up game. Over on Jake's side, Jahmyr Gibbs plays Thursday night in a huge matchup. Patrick Mahomes has looked electric, and then A.J. Brown coming off his league-high scoring record last week. Not a record, but just league-high scoring. Being a high-scoring player. See how he bounces back this week, if he can keep that rolling or not. Week 1 result, Drizzy Drake ended up beating Jake. Like I said, man, it feels like all the time here. I am mistaken in my last fact. I did not realize Amanda's beaten Jake 6 times. I thought the next highest was 5th. So I guess we have a tie for most series wins. I apologize for that. Give Amanda her credit here. But as far as the series go, I'm telling you, Amanda's 6 to Jake's 3. She's always had his number. Win streak. Amanda's got 2 in a row on him. Jake's last win came in week 14 of 2023. Again, this is an OG rivalry from 2020. Both these guys have been in the league. Been facing off. Faced off 9 times since then. The only time that you were ever guaranteed to play your rival twice prior to this year, or to play anybody twice for a guarantee, is when we had the divisions in 2023. So they played each other twice then. They played each other twice this year. They just happened to play each other twice in years past. As far as my research goes, no rival has ever played in the playoffs. So there's never been a rivalry matchup in the playoffs. Even though both these guys have had their fair share, and a lot of us have our fair share of playoff victories and appearances here. But, like I said, Amanda just playing for pride. Jake's playing for second. So, big matchup here. He's been hot. Let's see if Amanda can extinguish that flame. We shall see. And then, last matchup here. We got the king of the league, Zach, going up against the jester, Mike. Nakua Matata, 10-3. Rock Bottom, 6-7. Some of the key players here for, I got them mixed up on separate sides. I apologize. I didn't realize that till now. Some of the key players for Nakua Matata is Puka Nakua, of course, James Cook, and DK Metcalf. Can't afford to have a bad game out of Metcalf. Can't afford to have a bad game out of Cook. Puka can only carry you so far by himself. If he puts up another 81-point week here, you know, although it doesn't matter as far as the seeding goes, it's just not the way I would want to enter the playoffs with a sub-100-point week. So, big week here for them. Key players over on Mike's side is Michael Pittman Jr., Woody Marks, Kyle Monungai. There really wasn't a lot to pick from here. Mike kind of needs his entire team to do something. It's a little rough heading into this week with injuries and bye weeks and whatnot for him. So, it's kind of an ugly way to end the year. Likely going to catch an L this week just from projections and who he's having to start in certain places. So we'll see as the week goes on and as Thursday night plays out. Week 1 result, Nakua Matata wins 124-103. As far as the series goes, there's tied at 2-2 with Mike. Both of these guys honestly being new to the league. I think they both joined in 2023. I want to say that that was the last time we had 2 people move out of the league, and they've both been in there since. So makes a little sense. They would have played each other twice in 23, once last year, and then once this year for 4 so far. This will be 5th game in this week. As far as the win streak goes, Nakua Matata's won the last 2 after Mike won the first 2 in the 2023 season. If you guys were not here, in Mike's first year, he absolutely hit the ground running, having a Nakua Matua type season. Wow, Nakua Matua. What the fuck am I talking about? Nakua Matata as Zach's 10-3. I believe Mike went like 11-3, 12-2 his first year. It didn't end up winning the chip, but had a crazy first season where he was just burning everybody. Set the league record in points scored for the season. Just an incredible year. And then pretty much flipped the script last year, going like 2-10 or 2-14 or 2-12, something rough. And then this year, kind of balancing it back out. But nonetheless, hats off to Mike for fighting all year long. He easily could have been in last place, but trade. Big wheeler trade dealer. Mike's been working his ass off to stay alive as far as the league goes here for the playoffs. And like I said, he's got a chance, some chance, like Keith, but it's there. And then, so Takuma Tada with a 2-game win streak. Mike here. Last win came in 2023 when he had his incredible seasons. That's really all I got, man. That's it for the podcast this week. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope these slides are a little bit more entertaining than just looking at Yahoo with me, and are on par with some of what Will and Kate set as far as the bar goes. Please shoot me ideas. I've had like podcast ideas for when I have hosts and stuff, segments to call things. I guess I can move them into newsletter type form, but it's something that's going to take some time to perfect. But this is kind of mixing both worlds together. The old newsletter I know people liked, and then the podcast format that people are enjoying here these last couple of years. But it's been a long time. Miss talking to you guys. Miss being here. Miss sharing the pod, and loving your guys' feedback. Thank you. I believe it was you guys have the same profile picture, so it fucks me up all the time. But I believe it was Kate said that I was their number one listened to podcast on Spotify this year. If it wasn't Kate or if it was Will, either way, thank you. It means a lot because this isn't shit. And you gotta listen to any podcast like 3 times and probably lapped what I put out here as far as duration and quality goes. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in, sticking with it, believing in the product, believing in the league. I have some exciting updates, some exciting things I want to do. Off-season wise, I kind of want to keep those in the pocket until the playoffs are over. That way we can just kind of focus on this time of year, holidays, doing that. And then after the first of the year, when everything's said and done, we'll roll out there and see what the future of the league holds. I'm excited. Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Have a great holiday. Much love. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving and have a fantastic rivalry week.